Bandelier was established as a national monument in 1916, but evidence of human activity in this area dates back more than 10,000 years. Named after the Swiss anthropologist Adolph Bandelier, who researched the culture of the area, Bandelier has become a fantastic place to visit. Come along as we explore one of New Mexico's most distinctive scenic and archaeological destinations, once home to the Ancestral Pueblo people. This underground structure called a kiva was and is today an important part of the ceremonial cycle and culture of the Pueblo people. It was a center of the community not only for religious activities but also for education and decision making. These walls belong to the village of Chionyi. Tree ring dating shows the construction of the Pueblo began more than 600 years ago. Imagine living here, the daily sights, sounds, and smells that went on. The women busily grinding corn with these two heavy stones called mano and matate. The men working at building new buildings almost daily. And the kids herding wild turkeys, their dogs barking, having a good time playing. Everybody who lived here had their daily responsibilities and duties. The cliff in front of us is formed by volcanic tuff, which is easily eroded by the elements and impacted by our presence. Remember to stay on the trail and enter only the caves that have ladders. This house was built in the early 1920s just to show us what it must have been like with these homes that were actually built out from the cliffs themselves. However, new archaeological information indicates that this probably isn't the right design, that the people who lived here undoubtedly entered and exited from the top of the building, not from the front. These cave rooms were called Cave 8s by Edgar Lee Hewitt, who was an early archaeologist here. And a lot of people think that the smoke in here was just caused by the fires they used for cooking, but many of these were storerooms. And the black ceilings were caused by fires that were built intentionally to keep the soft pumice rock from crumbling. Well, this is the cave kiva, a little hollow in here and a little bit dark. But the feeling is that they did some weaving in here. Up on the ceiling you can see these big pieces of timber that actually held the loom. And on the floor were anchors where they put the loom supports in place to keep everything in perfect order. Now, we think that most women do the weaving, but in fact, the ceremonial weaving in this pueblo, it was done by the men. Up the trail, you'll find the Longhouse, where the Ancestral Pueblo people built multi-storied dwellings along the cliff base and carved petroglyphs into the cliff. By building dwellings against the rock face, housing units could be several stories tall. Above the top row of viga holes, there are petroglyphs. Once considered rock art, it is becoming apparent that these drawings had much deeper and more specific meanings to the people who carved them. This painted design, or pictograph, was part of a back wall of a second-story dwelling. Uncovered behind a layer of plaster, this pictograph was probably created for a very specific purpose, then covered over. Wildlife is abundant at Bandelier, and if you're lucky, you might just spot some as you hike through Frijoles Canyon. Well, I'm taking a minute to catch my breath. We're about a half a mile from the main ruins, and we're at a place called the Alcove House. Now, those of us that have lived here for a long time would refer to this as the ceremonial house. It's 140 vertical feet up this ladder before you get to the cave itself, and that's where we're going to head right now. So, photographer Dan is right behind us. Let's go. Well, whoever said 140 vertical feet straight up isn't a lot of work is dead wrong, I can tell you that. But here we are in the Alcove House, known most commonly to us that live here as the ceremonial cave at Bandelier. It's a wonderful place to come and visit. There is a kiva that you can go into. Out of respect for our Native American friends, we choose not ever to film in a kiva, but you're more than welcome to climb down and see what's inside when you're here. A great climb and a great view from the Alcove House. Although the Pueblo people haven't resided here in Frijoles Canyon in more than 450 years, the site isn't considered to be abandoned. The modern Pueblo people believe that the spirits of their ancestors still reside here. Bandelier, it's a great place to bring your family for a day or two.